Welcome to Church Matter Weekly Digest, the 19th to the 26th of August. This week's topic is Tithe All or Give All.
Tithing, as a practice, predates the Mosaic Law. The first instance of pre-law tithing is demonstrated by Abraham, the father of faith. Genesis 14:18-20 recounts how Melchizedek, king of Salem and priest of the Most High God, brought bread and wine to Abraham, blessed him, and in response, Abraham gave Melchizedek a tithe of all the spoils of war. This interaction is an example of mutual exchange. Melchizedek provided food, drink, and blessings, and Abraham responded with a tithe. Another notable example of pre-law tithing is found in Genesis 28-22, where Jacob voluntarily pledges to give a tenth of all that God provides for him. This was not commanded by God, but a willing commitment from Jacob. Secondly, tithing is an act of charity. Tithing is not a payment to God, but a charitable act towards specific groups of people. Under the Mosaic Law, tithes were designated for priests who served the community without inheritance or personal wealth. Additionally, tithes were extended to support foreigners, strangers, widows, orphans, and the fatherless individuals who lacked resources. Thirdly, tithing is also to celebrate God's goodness. The law also prescribed that tithes should be used to celebrate God's goodness. Deuteronomy 14:22-27 explains that a portion of the tithe was meant for annual feasts, where the giver, their household, and others including priests, strangers, widows, and orphans, would share in the bounty. If travel to the designated place of worship was too far, the tithe could be converted into money and spent on provisions for the feast. Fourthly, tithing is beyond giving to the poor. Tithing was not exclusively for the poor, though they were not excluded from its benefits. While almsgiving was directed specifically at the poor, the tithe, as described in Deuteronomy 14:28-29, was to provide for Levites, foreigners, fatherless children, and widows, ensuring their needs were met every 3 years through communal contributions. Fifthly, tithing is to make provision for food. The primary purpose of tithing was to provide food, a fundamental need. Throughout Scripture, God emphasizes the importance of feeding the hungry, ensuring that no one suffers due to a lack of food. Tithes were thus used to ensure that the vulnerable were fed and cared for. Sixthly, the New Covenant says, "Give all." Under the Old Covenant, tithing was a legal requirement embedded within the law. However, the Old Covenant has been replaced by the New Covenant, which emphasizes giving beyond a mere tenth. The early church, as described in Acts 4:32-35, embodied a spirit of generosity where believers shared everything in common. They gave not just a portion, but all they had, ensuring that no one among them was in need. Property was sold, and the proceeds were distributed according to each person's need. Number 7. Is tithe meant for other things other than food provision? There is no biblical record of tithes being used for building projects, such as constructing houses for God or providing chariots for priests, where no formal place of worship existed. Tithes were distributed among the community to meet feeding needs within the tither's household. Finally, what are the blessings of giving? There are blessings tied to all forms of giving, whether it be tithes, alms, charity, or offerings. The principle of giving is a personal conviction, and must be offering cheerfully. If someone adheres to the practice of tithing under the Old Covenant and finds it beneficial, that is valid. However, others may choose to follow the example of the early church and give beyond the tithe, embracing the call to give all under the New Covenant. Others may not be able to offer up to even tenth of their income, while other may give more than tenth, but not all. No one should be judged for their choice, as all givings honor God in their own way, as long as it's given in faith and in sincerity. Hope you are blessed by this week digest. Like and subscribe to Church Matter. Feel free to drop your view in the comment section. God bless His church.